Hi, my name is Justin, aka Ghost Reader, and today marks the 1 year anniversary of me starting this channel. I am so excited, guys. Never thought I'd still be doing this after a year, and with with 1,040 subscribers later, I just never thought that I would be doing this. Still, or it's just mind blowing. Once again, I want to thank you guys for supporting this channel. I still haven't done the video for my 1K subscribers. For reaching 1K, basically, I was trying to think of something really creative to do, but didn't really think of anything good. So I'll just do the traditional question and answer. So I hit 1,000 subscribers. Let's do a question and answer session. You can leave questions you want to ask me down in the comment section below, and if I get enough of those questions, I'll go ahead and do a Q&A video. I'll also be posting a post on Twitter, allowing people to ask me questions, and I'll gather them all together and I'll do a video answering your questions. So you can ask me questions there. And so with that out the way, I want to say that today this video is just going to be me talking about my journey to basically get this 1 year anniversary of BookTube. I was thinking back on how I got to be a BookTube creator, and it's quite an interesting journey. And it's not because of my love for books, it's because of my love of history and video games. That's right, video games and history. And so basically I'm just going to talk about my journey from looking back, where I can trace my journey from those interests in those two things to eventually making a BookTube channel, which talks a lot about history and so far not so much about video games. So when I was in high school, I discovered a video game series called Total War. The first game in the series that I played was Medieval 2 Total War, and I really loved it. It's a real-time strategy game, and the whole series basically covered a lot of periods of history, but has recently gone into fantasy. They did one with Warhammer, but the history ones, Medieval Total War, Rome, Shogun, Napoleon era, which if you watch my World War I series in my video on technology in World War I, the scenes of the tanks moving across the battlefield is actually from a modified version of Napoleon Total War. So I was playing this game in high school in high school, playing the Medieval 2 Total War, and I wanted to modify the game so I could play as a different faction, because they have many factions you can play as. I wanted to modify the game so I could play as one that you're not really allowed to, unless you go and modify the game files. And I went looking online, and I came across this website, which did give me the answer to the question I was looking for, but also introduced me to something called After Action Reports, or AAR. So I think After Action Reports are used by the military, like after they come back from combat, they write after action report. But in the case of video games, you're kind of doing the same thing. So basically, you play the game, you take a bunch of screenshots, and then you say to your online audience, or people will be reading your stuff, this is what I did. And some of them are as simple as, say for example, you're playing a game of Monopoly. It could be simple as, I rolled a 6 and I landed on Pennsylvania Railroad, and I bought Pennsylvania Railroad for $200 at the bank. Or it could be as detailed as, so one day in the early 1920s, my father gave me a small loan of $1 million, and so I decided to drive down to Atlantic City to see if I could buy some property. After a 2.5-hour drive, just as I happened to get into Atlantic City, I saw a sign saying that the Pennsylvania Railroad will be up for sale. So I decided that day that I would buy it. Couple months later, some tense negotiations, I had purchased Pennsylvania Railroad for $500,000. So you can see there are different types of levels of detail you can have there, where it's just simply, this is what I did, to like starting to actually craft a story around your gameplay. And so as I was drawn into this community on this website, this writing community, I read some stories there that even today I feel are better than like some novels that I've read, or actually on the caliber of novel status, in my opinion. And so I decided to try my hand at it. As a couple of false starts, but I did end up starting 2 that were relatively successful. I think one had over 15,000 views over the lifetime. of it, of me working on it, and I actually eventually took part of that and put it into book form, and I like copied out, like basically ordered a couple copies of it, and I have that for my own purposes, which is quite fun. And no one else will probably ever read these. And so I also did some creative writing on the side, wrote a sci-fi story that I thought was really good, and it's okay. Definitely needs a lot of work, but that people like that. And so it was there on that site that I learned about NaNoWriMo. Have never had never heard about NaNoWriMo before, and since then I haven't heard from NaNoWriMo from any other site at all. Generally, like if I went through life without ever playing that video game, going on that website, I probably would never have heard of NaNoWriMo just casually. But on the site with a bunch of writers, they said, "Hey, you join NaNoWriMo?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, why not?" I failed that year, failed the year after, failed the year after that. I think I took a couple years off, failed that year, and the year after that. It wasn't until I finally graduated from graduate school that I sat down in 2017 and said, the day of, and said, let me go ahead and try to do this. And I did win that one, and the difference being was, for the first time I actually saw the community surrounding NaNoWriMo. So I decided to go on the site, see if I could do some sprints, maybe some word crawls, and that's where I found out about Discord. Never heard of Discord, haven't come across Discord casually at all either, so I wouldn't have heard of Discord had I not been on the NaNoWriMo site. And so I went to Discord, and there was a Discord chat for people who were doing NaNoWriMo, and that's how I got through that first NaNoWriMo. I did like a lot of sprints there, and it helped me get a lot of words, so much so that I actually finished writing that year on November 20th. I was done, so I had like 10 days to spare. But I also joined someone one day. I was sitting in the chat room, and someone said, is there a Discord chat for YouTubers who are doing the same thing? And someone said, yeah, sure, here's the link. Boom, it throws the link up, and I decided to click on that link, and it took me to this other Discord chat, which I eventually, I think 2 days in, I muted because there were some people that kept talking about drunk live streams, and like someone on the site named Ben Sanders, if he got like 50 retweets or something like that, he would do a drunk live stream. And I was like, this is just distracting. And if I knew how, I probably would have just completely left the server, but I just muted it. After I finished my NaNoWriMo, I actually went back to that server and began to talk to some of them, and realized that they were something called BookTubers. First time I ever run into BookTubers, and casually, I never came across BookTube at all, probably. Or if I did come across a video, I probably wouldn't have recognized it was part of BookTube. I probably watched a review and just been like, okay, that was good, and just kept going. It was from there I learned that there were some people who created YouTube videos about books. I began to research some of the, began to look at some of the people's videos in the who were in the chat, and started to actually watch BookTube and whatnot. And so, as you know, the story goes, I made a bet with someone that if they made a YouTube channel, that I would too, and they took me up on that offer, and so here we are. I made my channel, and then of course I decided to research it a bit more, because I only kind of surface level I only watch videos from people in the chat, so I kind of wanted to research it a bit more to see what I was getting into. So I think the day I created this, I actually opened up the account for this, was December 15th of 2017. I made the account that way. I knew that at some point that I was going to actually make the video. Then I began actually looking at the community itself, seeing what was what made up the community, what people were talking about, and the first impression that I got was that this was mainly a space where a lot of people talked about young adult fiction, which I hadn't really read at all. That was women dominated, which it is, mostly women, and that there were very few men doing it, and very few black guys at all doing it. And so I was a bit trepid about making videos, because I was like, well, I'm not sure exactly where I really fit into the space. I don't really read new releases, which was kind of my concern. It wasn't even that it was young adult fiction. It was the fact that, because I really had no opinion about young adult fiction, really don't really have that much of it now, but it was more that it was a lot of new releases being talked about. At least that is what YouTube was pushing, because YouTube pushes the stuff that's most watched, and most watched stuff was stuff that was brand new coming out. And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hang financially with these people if I gotta keep doing like new releases in order to kind of stay relevant. So that was one of the things that made me trepid. The second was that it was not a lot of like men doing it, and not a lot, almost no black men at all. I think I found the way I actually began to start finding guys in the community was someone had made like a playlist of people that did the male booktuber tag, and so I was like, oh, amazing. And I subscribed to like all the ones that were still active, and that's where I found my first black guy at, and I was like, oh great, this is even better. So there is at least one in the community. Subscribe to him. And then I start looking for more black people in the community, and then I start seeing videos about diversity in BookTube, and the fact that there weren't a lot of people of color, at least the videos were saying there should be more people of color doing this. And so that kind of made me a bit trepid too, because it was like, well, why are people making like these videos? Is there like a problem? And so I was a little bit on the edge there about whether or not I would actually make it. But then I say, you know what, like if there are a few black men doing this, if I have to do a little bit of trailblazing, so be it. And so I decided to just go ahead and take my shot. I mean, the worst that could happen is I join, nobody watches my stuff, I stop making videos, because I never said how long I was going to do it. I couldn't just make one video and just like completely walk away. And so on January 5th of 2018, I decided I finally released my first video. I wanted to do it January the 1st. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because that would have meant I would have to do like a video this year on the 1st, and kind of glad I did it like a couple of days after, so it gave me some time to get myself ready to post videos and stuff. But posted my first video, and a lot of people watched it, and a lot of people started to subscribe and comment, and so it was just a great, amazing initial success for that first video. And I decided just to keep going with it, and here we are. And along the way, I got, especially in those early days, and of course, when you're small like that and you don't really have a big audience, people giving you shout outs is quite amazing. And so the ones that were like key and stuck in my mind, because they sent a lot of people to my channel, were Ben from Ben Sanders. Ben, this is the same Ben who people were talking about and kind of annoyed me when I was doing NaNoWriMo. But I actually became friends with some of those people. So there's been Ben Sanders. He gave me a shout out when I first started, and I brought a lot of people to my channel. I also met Rebel Carol, Carol from Rebel Carol, in that chat too. She hasn't made videos recently, but hopefully she gets back to making some more videos. And so another big shout out for me was Erika from ThePerksofBooks. We actually ended up, I think, buddy reading. I forget which one of the Witcher books we buddy read, but that was fun. I think that was one of my first like buddy reads. And then there was Dane from Dane Reads, who gave me a shout out too. We had I also joined in, I think it was January, which was like my first like kind of big, kind of relatively, it was multiple people. It wasn't really a buddy read, but multiple people were reading Dune, and that was like my first community event with multiple people. And all these books, Doris from all these books, she also gave me a shout out in those early days that brought a lot of people to my channel. And she now is reading War and Peace. Me and her have been going back and forth about that, so I wish you all the success in finishing War and Peace before the end of the year, or whenever she finishes it. I wish her all the best. But those people were people who gave me key shout outs when I was just starting out, and brought a lot of people to my channel, and the growth continued. And since then, I had the pleasure of being involved in I've been involved in a lot of community events, but some that the two that really were really fun, and I really had like that I had like a really good involvement with was BookTube in a Day from Matthew from MCS Books. BAC asked a whole bunch of booktubers to send him clips about your day in booktube, and he spliced it all together into this video. I'll put a link to that in the comment section below. That I thought was really cool, and I want to thank him for involving me in that, because that brought some people to my channel as well. And also I want to thank Myn Kobayashi for involving me in the POC-a-thon. She asked me to be one of the co-hosts for that, and she put a lot of work into it. It was her idea. She came up with the prompts and stuff, and she asked us to help her out. So I want to definitely thank her for that, and I look forward to joining her again for POC-a-thon if she decides to do it again this year. I think she wants to, so if she has me back as a co-host, I definitely would like to be a co-host again this year, when you decide to do that again. So it's just like, and so here I am. I'm like 1,000 subscribers in, a year in, and it looks like I have a bright future in front of me. And it's just interesting looking back, because it was like, if I hadn't bought that video game, I never would have went on that website and started writing. If I hadn't started writing on that website, I would never have heard about NaNoWriMo. If I hadn't heard about NaNoWriMo, I would never found out about Discord or been in that Discord chat for people who are writing for NaNoWriMo. And if I hadn't been in the Discord at that exact moment when that person posted the link, because I don't generally scroll back in the Discord because there's just so many messages to go through. If I hadn't been there at that exact time when that girl asked for the link to Discord channel where a lot of YouTubers were doing the same thing, then I would never join the chat with a lot of booktubers in it. And if it hadn't been for that, I would never heard about BookTube, and none of this happens. And so if one of those things doesn't happen, the odds of me stumbling across NaNoWriMo and then stumbling into BookTube are pretty slim. So it's just like a series of events that happened in the right order that brought me here to where I am today. I just thought it was really cool to just go back and recollect and thank some of the people who helped me get to where I am. And there are actually a lot more people out there who I'm going to be, I would definitely be giving shout outs to people throughout the year and trying to make it a thing to at least shout out someone like every video. So those were my shout outs for this video, and I look forward to finding new people this year. I definitely want to start digging into more into the newbie tags again, because getting encouragement from bigger YouTubers when I was small really helped me and gave me the encouragement to keep going with it going forward. So that's all I want to say for this video. I want to thank you all. I should have posted my January TBR already, so you can go ahead and check that out if you haven't. And tomorrow I will be posting my wrap up for December. I've read a lot of good books in December, so you can keep a lookout for that. And that will be, I think, like 5 videos already in January. I still have to do like a best and worst video for 2018, so you can keep a lookout for that. I think I may be doing a video series for the single issue comic books that I'm reading. Maybe not. We'll see how that works going forward. But yeah, so if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at GhostReads28, and also on Gear Reads. The link to that is down in the description box below. So as always, keep reading.